How to eat, Linda. Home and auto coverage for whatever tomorrow throws at you, so you can keep calm and rock on. Stupid squirrel.
Thank you for sharing part of this chilly Sunday with us. Check out World News Tonight. Have a great day.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
This is something that I've been dreaming about.
I want to be a singer.
And I believe
I can do it.
Being here just means the entire world to me.
you were born to sing.
From Eyewitness News, this is an Weather's No Alert Update.
Good morning and welcome to a special edition of Eyewitness News. A major winter storm is here. Snow is coming down all across the tri-state area.
I would say you can see it has arrived, but visibility is difficult. It is official. The snow is here, and we also know that tomorrow will, in fact, be a remote learning day for about 1 million New York City school students. High school already had the day off in snow at all the other grades. Mayor Mondani and the school's chancellor making that decision earlier to go remote for tomorrow. All school programs are also canceled.
Here's a live look now at LaGuardia Airport. 10,000 flights all across the country have been canceled, and there are already 1,800 flight cancellations for tomorrow.
All New York City ferry service is now suspended as of 11 o'clock this morning, so that happens right now. That's going to be in place until further notice. The Staten Island ferry now running on a modified schedule.
The city is also providing warming centers for those folks in all 5 boroughs who perhaps don't have enough heat. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandra Bookman.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mike Mars. Thanks for joining us here on this snowy Sunday morning as we walk you through this storm. Of course, we have a team of reporters fanned out across the area monitoring the up-to-the-minute conditions.
And our team of meteorologists are walking us through every single moment of this storm. We're going to begin with Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg. Lee, you have been spot on in terms of calling when the snow was going to start falling, and now we'll see just how long it's going to fall.
Well, a tip cap to Danny and Brittany, who did an incredible job kicking off the storm this morning. Well, this is no longer the city that never sticks. We've got snow, and we are well on our way to having the biggest snowstorm in 4 to 5 years in New York City. And what I'm showing you down bottom here on the floor are snowfall rates. Now, we've already had 1 to 2 inches of snowfall rates per hour over the last couple of hours showing up, but this big red area right here, that's 1 to 3 inch an hour snowfall rates, and that's what's coming up over the next few hours. So we go into the brunt of the storm now, of our major winter storm, as we go through the midday and into the early afternoon hours. Winter storm warnings, obviously, that's going to go through midday tomorrow, although the brunt is going to go through this evening and then taper. Visibility has gone to 0 in New York City. You can barely see the Brooklyn Bridge. There is some traffic on there, which is just mind-boggling. It is 12 right now, and it feels like 2 below. The cold, the calling card of this storm, making the big difference. And look at these visibilities, which is a measure of the snow intensity, and it's less than a quarter mile. Widespread heavy snow across the area, really dumping across the area. Now the winds are also picking up, and you know, while it probably won't be categorized as a blizzard, we're getting blizzard conditions at times as we go through the afternoon hours. Numerous snow reports that we'll be passing along, but the most fascinating in the last few hours is just these snowfall rates at Newark going 2 inches an hour in JFK, and we're just going to try to keep up with these as we go through the afternoon. I mean, these are through 10:20. We probably have some spots that are already pushing 4 or 5 inches of snow. I even saw a report out of central New Jersey near Bridgewater that was near 6 inches of snow. So heavy snowfalls over the next few hours, and that will be 1 to 3 inches an hour. And that'll continue into the late day and evening north and west. But sleet is going to mix in New York City south and east probably after 3, could even take a little longer than that. And every hour makes an enormous difference with our snowfall totals. You add another hour or 2 of snow, you could add between 2 and 4 inches of snow. So that's why the ranges are there. The heavy snow continues north and west, even into the late day and evening when we see some of that mixing coming in. Now, the snow and icy mix is all going to taper after 9 o'clock. So basically, you're looking about another 10 hours in the heart of this storm. And then ultimately, we'll all go back to light snow during the overnight, tack on some light accumulation. inches. You'll have some snow showers tomorrow. The big deal is that it stays frigid into February, so the snow is going nowhere. All right, here's the latest radar. And what you want to look at when you're looking at this radar is some of these darker purple patches. So you get the snow in waves, but it's widespread heavy snow. The heavier snowfall rates are just south and west of Philadelphia right now. That's just to the north of that mixing line, which is, it's about to creep up toward Cape May. Might be a couple of ice pellets in southernmost New Jersey. So again, we're at least 4 or 5 hours away from seeing that get up close to New York City, and it never gets to the northwest suburbs. Obviously, this is a part of this incredible storm that goes from the Gulf Coast all the way to the Canadian border, and we have a long way to go. So looking at this futurecast, we're snowing in the single digits and low teens. We get into the heaviest over the next few hours, and then that mixing line. And remember, this is a computer model. This might verify a little bit later. It might take a little longer to come up, again, adding to those snow totals. We continue to snow heavily into the early evening hours north and west. We've got sleet, even some freezing rain over parts of interior New Jersey as we go into the evening hours. Then we start to see the intensity shut down. We go to light snows overnight as cold air wraps back in, and light snows into the morning hours. Again, the icing that we'll have to watch out for will be south and west. This is just our high-res computer model showing additional snowfall over the next several hours into the early evening. Look how we can still tack on another foot in White Plains, another 8.5 inches in Central Park, and look, another 1.5 feet almost in Poughkeepsie. So our snowfall map is unchanged. We still have that floor of 6 inches for some areas well off to the south, but you're talking about the high end of these ranges being realized. Off to the north and west, we might top 18, maybe even go toward 20 inches in some spots. Again, there is a concern of that glaze on top of all that snowpack, so that's why it gets very, very dangerous. We give you some storm temps in Maine weather. Again, these are snowfall rates. Notice how we go through the middle of the day, 2 inch per hour snowfall rates, then the big drop off after 3, but that may be a little quick. It might be dropping it off a little too fast. We might extend that in the afternoon hours. All right, so coming up with AccuWeather, we're going to have timing and totals. Danny Beckstrom's going to join me again to talk about some of these snowfall rates and then talk about the extended cold after the storm. But we have a long way to go in the storm. We're going to take you hour by hour, tell you everything that's happening in your community. Send your pictures and reports in. It's important that we get ground truth of what's going on at the storm and how heavily it's coming down. So thank you for that in advance. All right, we'll be back with AccuWeather in a little bit, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Lee. Phil Tate has been out in it since the very beginning this morning. So you've seen the snow when it was falling slowly, Phil, and you've seen it pick up some speed, right?
Absolutely, Sandra. When we actually arrived, we saw some of those first flakes, but to think that this looks completely different now, hours later. Sandra, I want to tell you first and foremost, it is seriously cold out here. As you mentioned at the top of the show, that the city has opened up those 10 warming centers across the 5 boroughs. Now, we've seen coming up and down this street, FDNY, NYPD. Right now, an FDNY truck is coming out of this salt marsh. We're here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and this is where several trucks have been coming to get plowed, to get their salt before they hit the road. The sanitation department really has this down to a science. We're talking about 2,000 sanitation workers. We know that the mayor had spoken with us exclusively and told us that they even bolstered up staff as they were preparing for this storm, and now they are truly in the thick of it. Right now, you're taking a live look. This is almost like a staging area where several of these trucks, they now wait. One's going to head right inside. They've been waiting. They line up. They get what they need, and then they get back out onto the road. And this is a real first test for the Mamdani administration, as this is the first weather event that they're seeing since they entered City Hall just a few weeks ago. But they said that they have prepared. We also do know that as for schools, that they are going to be going to remote learning for tomorrow. There'll be no kids headed to the school buildings tomorrow. And this is why. I mean, you could just really take a look at the wind that is whipping around, the constant snowfall that is coming down. Now, I will step back in here for you just right now, just to show you, because guess what? They have the streets covered. They have the streets covered, but as for the sidewalks, you might got to get out there with your shovel soon. You can just see that the snow, it's really like powdery like, so it's very light for the most part. I can even put my hand down and grab a little bit of it. It just goes right through your hands. So that's good right there. But of course, you want to be careful when you are braving the elements. Now, there will be a press conference at 12:30 that Mayor Mamdani will be having, and will be standing by for any updates. Of course, if you don't have to head out, make sure that you just stay inside. It's a good day just to read a book and to snuggle up with a blanket. We are live in Williamsburg. I'm Phil Tate, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It was interesting, Phil. We saw the fire truck, the fire engine pull out of that salt dome. Do we have any idea what the fire truck was doing in there? I mean, maybe getting sand for the firehouse. Have you seen other types of trucks go in and out of there?
Listen, when you work for Channel 7 Eyewitness News, we always have a camera up. We had no clue, but when we saw it, we just knew we had to capture it. But of course, we'll be standing by to see if we see any other fire trucks who are headed inside, and for what reason they got to get it too as well.
You've been out there all morning. Great job, Phil. Thank you. You mentioned we're waiting for the news conference with Mayor Mamdani. That's coming up in about 90 minutes. In the bottom of the 12 p.m. hour, we're also expecting to hear from Governor Hochul in the next few minutes. So as soon as she begins to speak in Albany, we'll take that here live on Channel 7. At the bottom of your screen, we're also crawling some of the outer borough and some of the suburban school districts that have already decided their plans for tomorrow.
And I got a feeling there's plenty of kids at home keeping an eye on that. Treacherous conditions on the roads. This is a look at the Long Island Expressway westbound near Utopia Parkway. Just one of many accidents that crews are responding to this morning. Of course, if you do not have to be out, our suggestion is just stay at home.
Which is why we have reporters out there showing you the conditions you'll face. Let's go to Bayside, Queens now with Kimberly Richardson. She's been out there for a number of hours. Kim, what's it been like as you've seen this storm really roll through the area this morning?
And we have Mike and Sandra. We were out here on Bell Boulevard and 35th Avenue. When we first got here, it was kind of a light snow. And we're like, oh, this isn't so bad. Now it's sideways, and I can literally hear the snowy mix hitting me in the side of my trapper hat. It is a flaps down type of day. Let me show you what's going out here on the roads. Oh, look at this guy. Sergio, can you see that pickup truck? What? He's like fishtailing. I don't know what that is, but we do not want you to do that. Out here on the roads, you just saw a plow go by. They have been going on here. Take a look at the conditions over here in the road. I'm not going to get too close. Safety first. But the roads are thick. They have had plows come down here several times, and even with this several passes, with the rate of snow that Lee and Danny and everybody has been talking about this morning, and Brittany, it just, they can't keep up. In fact, here at the Neptune Diner, this parking lot in the last hour, the plow came through here and he was down to blacktop. Now it has again built up with this rate of snow. The Bayside Family Market, I was in there this morning talking to the workers there. They have now sent their workers home early. They are closing early. Most people out here who are walking around, they are bundled up, they're ready. There was one gentleman that I found, though. Take a look and listen to him. What the heck?
Last minute.
No hat, no gloves.
I live right there, so it was pretty quick, but thankfully Bayside Milk Farm's open, so I was able to get some last minute things. We weren't able to do it last night, so here we are last minute.
How are you going to make out today?
They'll make up pretty well. We're going to see how it goes. The forecast is all over the place, kind of. It could be this, it could be that, but we'll make it through. We're pretty strong.
Oh, they are Bayside Queens strong. Again, I want you to look down here. We saw some folks earlier. They were shoveling the sidewalk. There is a sidewalk here. Then they transitioned because of the rate of snow to snow blowers. So we are seeing that out here. There's a gentleman over here across the street. He has his shovel out. He's walking over there. Here's a private plow here making the runs. They're trying to stay out and about. They don't want to wait for it to pile up. So they are making the runs around here. We're seeing that out here on Bell Boulevard. So we will be here, we will be in place, and bring much more to you guys. Sandra and Mike.
Thank you very much, Kimberly and Bayside Queens. And Kimberly's right. This is going to be a day-long job for most of those folks trying to keep up with the snowfall. The same thing is happening all across the tri-state area. This is a look in New Jersey. Road conditions on the Garden State Parkway near Woodbridge. The roads look pretty good considering what's falling right now. But plow, as folks dropping salt, the plows are going to have to stay on top of it in order to try to keep up with this storm. That's why we are suggesting if you don't have to get out there, don't get out there.
And give the trucks space to do the work too if you do have to be out on the road. This Hoboken here, you can see where they're trying to clear some of the roads here, especially as we get closer to the heart of the storm or the teeth of the storm. Let's go to Shantae Lands now because she's been following everything in Mahwah, New Jersey, and we've seen kind of how the storm has changed in intensity from some of the live shots that we're taking with Phil and Kimberly. What's it been like for you in Mahwah this morning, Shantae?
Mike and Sandra, it's been light snow. It started around 5:30 this morning when we got here, and it continued. Now it's falling much, much faster, and it almost feels like ice hitting your body. That's how cold this snow is and how cold it is out here. Something I want to show you that's changed within the last hour. Whiteout conditions on the road, and you notice there are way less cars out here than before. I think they got the hint. This is what it looks like if you are a driver. This is Route 17, by the way, in Mawa, and folks have been navigating through here. There's been what I've been calling a parade of plows coming through here to clear off the roads, but about 30 minutes under that later, you no longer see the pavement. Kimberly has been saying that as well, and in fact, to talk about this now, joining me now is the DPW director for Mawa. This is Glenn Dowson. Thank you for joining me today. All right, tell me where you guys are at right now with these road conditions.
We're opening the roads up. We probably made 1 or 2 passes on every road so far, and we're keeping everything opened up the best we can for emergency services vehicles. And we're doing the best we can to the conditions we're facing right now.
All right, now tell me how much of the workload, how many workers, how many fleets?
Sure, we got 50 trucks on the road, 50 employees doing that. We have several guys doing sidewalks and everything else too. So we have them working out in these conditions all the time, keeping the firehouses and the EMS and PD open, safe. So we have personnel going in and out of the firehouses. So.
And then when you mentioned the sidewalks, is that around City Hall? Which sidewalks are those that you guys are working on?
More or less for the firehouses, EMS, PD, so they can get in and out safely when they go to emergency calls.
Okay, and,
Yep.
and I feel like this got to be your 5th or 6th snowstorm this season. This has not been, I think they said, for 8 years with this intensity of so many storms. How have you guys been managing? How have your crews been managing now, the 6th or 7th at least?
It's not bad. I mean, my guys are really doing the best job they can. I mean, it's the 2nd weekend in a row, so we really have much of a break. Our salt conditions are okay. We got a few loads yesterday, so we're okay for salt right now. And, we're just doing the best we can, with what we have going on.
Advice to folks and residents of Mawa and really across the state of New Jersey?
Please stay home. Let us do our jobs, and let emergency services do our jobs. Don't make us come out and help you, save you. Just stay home, be safe, enjoy a nice cup of coffee, enjoy watching Eyewitness News, and we can go from there.
Well said, Glenn Dowson. Thank you for taking the time and be safe on the roads there. He said it's straight out of the horse's mouth and from the governor's mouth and from the mayor of New York City and the governor of Connecticut. If you can stay at home, especially more so now than before. We're by a diner. There were people here earlier, but like I said, with the conditions on the roads here, people have been taking the hint. And this point forward, if you can, just stay home. The snow is beautiful. You can play with it, but just not on the roads. Reporting live in Mawa, New Jersey, Shantae Lands, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
That was good advice, Shantae. You can play with it, play in it, but try to stay off of it on the roads.
And we see how quickly it's coming down just based on how much it was collecting on that gentleman's jacket there and Shantae's hat. Shantae, thank you. Again, we are awaiting comments in a briefing from Governor Hochul up in Albany and some of the emergency officials tackling this storm from a state level. Let's go to Westchester County now, where people in Mount Kisco have been already out this morning. This is a good idea, right? The snow plow sort of version of a residential attack of this storm. These snow blowers out there saving your back, if you will, trying to get some of the snow removed. Darla Miles in Mount Kisco this morning as people are making their way out on this Sunday. Darla, what's the experience been like for you so far?
Well, we're in the storm, and this is kind of like the beautiful, fluffy snow part of the storm, and it's pretty out here until it's not, until it gets bad. Let me show you what the roadway looks like here at Mount Kisco. They've made a few passes on the road. You can see a plow behind me over there, but if you notice, all of the streets, there were lots of street parking here. Well, Mount Kisco got out yesterday. They got out in advance and said, listen, take all of your cars off the street. By 10 p.m. last night, all of the cars had to be off the street, and there's no street parking until tomorrow at noon. So that's so they can make a lot of passes here on the snow. Now, we are, because we're right here, all of the snow, like, right in the
Coming back.
nothing up there.
Taking this very seriously, I want you to prepare for the significant winter storm that's going to be potential considerable disruptions to transportation and daily activities.
Okay, so you have your beauty salon over today. Are you guys really open? Okay, all right. So how long are you going to be out here today to try to all right, so we are at the beginning of the storm. And we've got seeing a lot of cars over there. We're seeing more plows and cars, school cars and street cars. Plow comes over here. And it's really what it looks like for us to have. We're trying to keep up with the snowfall. But people are outside also trying to do things to get up on the west side highway. We saw somebody running. Again, this is a pretty important snowfall, so you can get out and ride. We even saw somebody with like cross-country skis. I guess that was their exercise as well. Doing those outdoor activities before it really gets bad when that sleep comes later on this afternoon. Mike and Sandra, this is what it is. Out of the road. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Stay out of the road. Great job out there. I know after a minute, we start repeating ourselves, but everything you've said, this guy trying to clean off the sidewalk, which is exactly what folks need to be doing, trying to, as you said, stay on top of this, not like some Olympic snow mover. Mike is thinking maybe that might be a good sport.
You know, the Winter Olympics are coming up in just a couple of weeks, so maybe you're right on. I mean, maybe they can add that to it.
All right. Darling, we'll talk with you later.
It is interesting though when you think about some of these shop owners. We saw the beauty salon there, and people who had appointments and they live maybe right down the block, and they think, well, I got to cross this off the list. Maybe I can go get it done. But you'll certainly want to check and see if all those appointments are being held today. Chances are probably not. Check out this picture from this subway station, the Houston subway station. You can see some of the snow making its way a bit there onto the platform as we expect to see some impacts with certain travel parts of our city today and some of the other areas that you'll see bigger impacts with the snow. But again, Houston there, you see some of the snow falling and then making its way onto the platform. Again, we are waiting to hear from Governor Hochul. She's in Albany with some of the emergency personnel attacking this storm from the state level. As soon as she begins to speak, you'll hear that right here on Channel 7. Mayor Mamdani expected to brief press at about 12:30, and we have you covered with all of those emergency management issued statements throughout the day.
Just a heads up, a piece of important information to help with all the snow removal. Alternate side parking is suspended already for tomorrow. It's certainly beautiful when you look around the city and around some of the surrounding suburbs. Viewers, of course, sending us their photos. Well, this is like the whiteout, right? This is exactly what they said you can expect during a rough part of the storm. This is a beautiful scene here. I think we got this a short time ago from Staten Island. This looks like Christmas, right?
That's what they said earlier. One of our interviews, they said it's kind of like another Christmas carol. This is a picture from Chester, New York, in Orange County, and you can see the box. It's a Sunday.